It's Wednesday, June 2nd, and this is now on HNN.
Not surprising, especially this area.
There's been an arrest in connection with a deadly stabbing in Waikiki.
From retail to restaurants, a worker shortage is hitting pandemic-battered businesses hard.
Kids, they couldn't find childcare, they're working from home, or, they're enjoying all this money that they're getting from unemployment.
There's a push to recall some sunscreens after new data shows they contain a chemical tied to blood cancers. I'm Elise Preston with more on the products that may be contaminated.
Plus, we have an update on Kilauea. These stories and more coming up on This Is Now.
New at noon, the city just announced it will reopen its rental and utility relief program for people struggling to pay their bills because of the pandemic. On Monday, June 7th at 6 p.m., officials say they will accept 10,000 applications from Oahu's most vulnerable families and individuals. Only one person per household should apply, and those who have already applied in the first two rounds should not apply again. Applicants earning less than 50% of Oahu's median income or lower will be prioritized. For a household of four, that's about $63,000 a year or less. Those who qualify can receive up to $2,500 a month for rent and utility bills. Payments are made directly to the landlord or utility. To apply on Monday, visit oneoahu.org/renthelp. We'll also post this link to our HNN digital platforms.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for watching. This is now Ashley and Jonathan here. We want to get you live now to Waikiki. With the return of tourism, vacation rentals continue to be in high demand, but regulations are creating an uncertain future. Casey Harlow of Hawaii Public Radio has today's Talker Story.
For this entire year, I have 1 week left in the calendar to book, and we're booked all the way to the end of March 2022.
Business is booming for Cindy Wild, a real estate agent and vacation rental operator in Kailua Kona. She started seeing demand for Hawaii Island rentals pick up last October. Since then, it has exploded.
Part of it is the hotels have not completely opened to full occupancy, so they don't have as many rooms. But looking at what's going on right now at the hotels, especially on this island, they're really, really expensive. I mean, my place can get rented out between $185 to $199 a night, and Hapuna is $1,100.
According to the Hawaii Tourism Authority, vacation rentals have been outperforming hotels since October 2020. In its latest report for April, rentals had a 66% occupancy rate, while hotels saw only 51%. While rentals all over the state are seeing an uptick in business, regulations for them vary between counties. In Maui County, legal rentals would need either one of two permits or have been in operation since 1989. But legal hosts say there are efforts to further restrict or shut down their business. Jen Russo is the executive director of the Maui Vacation Rental Association. She says obtaining and renewing a permit is a very rigorous process, but there are ongoing attempts to phase out vacation rentals in the county.
Many people feel like the county wants their money, but they don't feel that they're getting the support as a small business owner. There have been reports of the county revoking permits or really looking for reasons not to renew a permit. Some permittees have said that they are only being given a 1 hour notice, for example, for a renewal inspection this year, where in the past they were able to schedule an appointment with a planner.
Despite these challenges, data shows vacation rentals contribute economically to the state's and county's bottom line. A 2020 HTA study highlighting the impact of the home rental market in the state estimated $3.3 billion in visitor spending was connected to vacation rentals in 2018. On Maui, Russo says rentals make up 37% of the county's property tax revenue.
Vacation rentals are also the largest source of revenue for Maui's Affordable Housing Fund. This fiscal year, vacation rentals will raise $5.6 million, and for the last 3 years combined, they have raised $7.10 million. This is not including the TAT and GET taxes. So vacation rentals support a lot of small businesses on Maui, from accountants, construction contractors, interior designers, landscapers, and many more.
On Hawaii Island, Cindy Wild says there are issues arising for those renewing their non-conforming use permits, which are usually in residential neighborhoods. She says hosts are experiencing delays in getting the renewals approved by the county. Legal hosts in the state face an uncertain future with current and proposed regulations, and they hope they can work with lawmakers and communities to strike a balance. In the meantime, Wild and operators like her are cashing in on the pent-up demand from travelers. From Hawaii Public Radio, I'm Casey Harlow.
New today, police say they have made an arrest in connection with that deadly Waikiki stabbing. Police identified the man as 21-year-old Oscar Cadona. He was arrested on Kalakaua Avenue in Waikiki, near where the stabbing occurred. The stabbing happened about 1 a.m. Tuesday during a confrontation that broke out on the sidewalk. HPD sources say the man was visiting from Las Vegas. He's the one seen in this video wearing the red shorts. We're told he was stabbed twice in the chest. That's a spot in Waikiki known to attract some trouble late at night, despite being less than a third of a mile away from a police substation.
That's horrible.
That's shocking.
And not surprising, especially this area.
We're told the Visitor Aloha Society of Hawaii is assisting the victim's family. Hawaii residents are in favor of limiting tourists and want more regulations from the state. This all comes from a new survey that was conducted by the UH's Public Policy Institute. We talked to the director, Colin Moore, today on Sunrise.
So this survey that came out overnight, go ahead and give us the lowdown. What are the results?
You know, really interesting results here. I mean, the first, people by a slight majority do favor ways to potentially limit tourism, the number of arrivals. But more than that, they favor the state regulating tourism and focusing on those difficult hotspots, places like the North Shore. They're also interested in increasing taxes and fees on tourists, things like a rental car surcharge, maybe forcing them to make reservations in the most crowded places in the state. So overall, there's a lot of favor for more restriction after people got a flavor for fewer tourists on the island. Now that they're coming back, they want the state to step up and start regulating our tourism industry.
Is there anything that surprised you as you look through the results of this study?
You know, I think I was surprised by the overall sentiment that favors things like increasing taxes and fees on tourists. That can sometimes be a tough sell. Even more interesting than that is that Hawaii households that depended on the industry for money for their income, a lot of them too were interested in exploring ideas like green fees, an increase in some fees on tourism taxes that then would be devoted to protecting our natural resources. That was a little bit surprising to me because you expect folks who work for the industry, to be worried about the effect of tourism on, or rather the effect of taxes on the tourism industry, but they seem to favor a lot of these changes as well.
How do you think policymakers will view this as they take a look at the results?
You know, they may not be so surprised about this. I think everyone knows after we had 10 million tourists in 2019 and fewer during the pandemic, of course, that there is this overall sentiment. But the state hasn't made a lot of concrete actions except for a few isolated places in the state to regulate tourism. So I hope this will show them that this is really what residents want, and we need regulation and policy to follow the will of people.
As we took a look at this, I found it really interesting, the numbers. And this was, what was the size of the sample on this one?
So this was a 700-person survey, which is a plenty big enough sample to get a sense of how people feel about issues like this. Absolutely.
Okay, and I know that if you're watching this at home and you're wanting to see what else is more involved in this survey and, what the results are, Colin, there's a place where they can go to find out more information and actually go through this, right?
There sure is. You can see the full results at the UH Public Policy Center website. We've released all the results, so if you want to look through the report, you're very encouraged to do so right on our website. Just Google it and it'll come right up.
Unemployment claimants are now required to apply for at least 3 jobs a week if they want to keep getting benefits. And some industries say they're already starting to see those applications coming in. Jolani Martinez has more.
With school out for the summer, this is the time of year when people are lining up to fill out applications. But only certain businesses are thriving, while others think they're being used to tick a box on unemployment paperwork.
Just for today itself, we probably have seen at least a 25% increase in applicant flow.
The industrial manager at Ultra Staffing, Shani Bryant, says certain industries are benefiting from the state mandate.
Construction is booming right now, our warehouse, our driving. So anything in that transportation mode, the warehouse mode, and those are the clerical staff that support those businesses, we're seeing a definite increase in all of that.
But it's those hit hard by the pandemic, like retailers and restaurants, aren't seeing as big of an interest. Trying to find frontline employees has been a challenge.
Maybe they wanted to stay home because of their kids. They couldn't find childcare. They're working from home, or they're enjoying all this money that they're getting from unemployment.
Others may be exploiting loopholes in the system in order to stay on unemployment.
Talking about applying for jobs that they don't qualify for, so they have the 3 jobs on their list and they can continue to collect unemployment until September with the plus up money.
So now that we're reopening, we'd like those employees to come back, but some of them already found other employment.
Because business is up at Popeyes, they're looking to ramp up their staffing but are struggling to entice people who may have smaller resumes.
I think for any entry-level position, a lot of the benefits being provided are extremely competitive with the wages that we can pay. So I think people are just not as incentivized to, join back the working ranks in entry-level positions.
Bryant believes that post-pandemic, prospective employees may be more wary about finding healthy work environments.
Make sure that the staff you have know that they feel valued, and because you don't want to lose them. You don't want to lose them right now if you're really struggling to find good workers.
Bryant says the state is asking employers to flag applicants who don't show up for interviews. Potential employees are encouraged to not ride unemployment for much longer because the federal $300 weekly bonus expires in September. Jolani Martinez, Hawaii News Now.
The Manoa Neighborhood Board meets tonight, and on the agenda, the UH Rainbow Warriors football team playing at the Manoa campus. Parking and traffic will likely come up. The plan was to open upper campus parking lots and potentially provide off-site parking and shuttles. The team has to play at the TC Ching Field for the next 3 years at least, after Aloha Stadium canceled all games and events at the venue for the foreseeable future. Meanwhile, the neighborhood board will also be talking about accessing the lower campus from Old Waialae Road. The board will also take up a resolution urging the city or state to buy the land where Paradise Park used to be. The agenda says the goal is to use these 76 acres for conservation, education, and public recreation. The land recently went up for sale for $20 million. Tonight's meeting starts at 7 and is only accessible via WebEx or by phone.
New today, there are calls for the FDA to recall some sunscreens. This comes after tests showed they contained a known cancer-causing chemical. Elise Preston has much more.
With summer almost here, people are spending more time in the sun, but tests by Valashore, an online pharmacy and lab, show dozens of popular sunscreens and after-sun products contain a chemical tied to blood cancers. Benzene, a known carcinogen, was found in 27% of the sprays and lotions tested. That includes products sold by Neutrogena, Banana Boat, and CVS.
The problem with benzene is it can cause leukemia, anemia, things like this.
CBS Chief Medical Correspondent John LaPook says one of the things the FDA will look into is how the chemical is getting into the products.
There's no manufacturer that's intentionally adding it to the sunscreen product. Somehow it's in there as a contaminant. It's not clear how it gets in there. Is it one of the ingredients that got contaminated? Is it the process of making the lotion or the after sun product that somehow creates it? We're not sure.
Johnson & Johnson, maker of Neutrogena products, told CBS News benzene is not an ingredient in any of our personal care products. CVS said the products it sells are safe and, quote, "We are in the process of reviewing and evaluating information in and related to Valashore's petition and will respond accordingly." And the maker of Banana Boat said, quote, "Our sun care products undergo rigorous testing to ensure safety and quality and meet all FDA regulations." Not all the products from those brands were found to contain benzene. Health experts emphasize the vast majority of sunscreens do not contain the chemical, and people still need to protect themselves from the sun. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
All right, thank you, Elise. We just got some breaking news in from the State Department of Health.
The state is reporting 25 new COVID infections and no new fatalities. The breakdown by island shows 7 confirmed cases on Maui, 13 on Oahu, and the rest diagnosed out of state.
All right, let's take you live outside to downtown. Look at that, looking beautiful out there. Here's Guy Hoggy with an update of all those conditions outside right now.
How's it on this Wednesday? We're in for a beautiful trade wind weather day, although there looks like a fair bit of clouds heading for the windward side of the Big Island. Other than that, we are tracking another field of moisture up to the north, expected to drop in to Kauai and Oahu tonight and tomorrow. Could be a little damp tonight and tomorrow, mainly for the west end of the state. But for today, really not much rain at all, although we'll get a nice surplus of trade winds running nice and breezy for Maui County all the way to Kauai. Lighter winds, of course, over on the Kona side of the Big Island, so it's going to be hot and humid for West Hawaii. Now, for everybody else, we'll get lots of sunshine today. Trade winds will be running steady at 10 to 20. And we'll need those trade winds because of the abundant sunshine. Temperatures will be running to about 90 degrees today. Now, that huge swell that picked up yesterday is slowly dropping for north and west shores. It should have been a high surf advisory event, but it did not. But it did get that big. So 68 today, dropping south shores, pretty small, but we are expecting a nice little pulse coming in by tomorrow. So again, fair skies today, just a few minor splashes, more rain due in tonight through tomorrow, slowly drying up by Friday. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
Duke's Mike Krzyzewski, the winningest coach in men's college basketball history, will retire after the 2021-2022 season. Coach K has led the Blue Devils to 5 national championships and 12 Final Fours since taking over the program back in 1980. The 74-year-old also won 3 Olympic gold medals with USA Basketball. Former Duke player and associate head coach John Scher has agreed to become the next head coach, taking over the 2022-2023 season. While the eruption at Kilauea has stopped, there are still some changes going on at the summit. Philip Ong, a volcanologist with the Hawaii Tracker Facebook group, made this video to explain exactly what's going on.
A full week of quiescence elapses on Kilauea Volcano. The last lava visible on May 23rd, 155 days after the onset of the eruption on December 20th, 2020. The hardened surface of the lava lake continues to cool, with a few persistent hotter areas still visible on the USGS HVO F1 thermal camera shown here, though, quote, at temperatures well below those associated with molten lava, according to their latest weekly update. The first time-lapse spanned the past 24 hours, and now here's a full eruption sequence from the thermal camera, including the cooling sequence. The bulk of the lava comes out early on, with 51% of its volume erupted in the first 5 days and the rest over the following 5 months. And then, again from the visible KW camera using sunset images. The hardened top of the lava lake ultimately covers 112 acres, or 45 hectares by the end of the eruption last week. Pressure continues to build within the volcano, as evidenced by the slowly rising tilt over the past week, perhaps easier to see over the past month, and a slight increase in earthquakes and ground tremor, with, quote, slight oscillating deflation-inflation cycles over the past week, end quote. But no signs of escalating volcanic activity are evident. A possibility of reactivation still exists in a few months ahead, but if so, there are no indications of it yet. Instead, sulfur dioxide gas measurements of around 50 tons per day set new 2021 lows on May 26th and 28th. While emissions from 2018 to 2020 were slightly lower, at 30 to 35 tons per day, the presence of inflowing groundwater is believed to have absorbed some of the volcano's gas emissions during that era. All in all, it's a quiet start to the next chapter of Kilauea's story.
All right, thanks, Philip. Always love checking in with you and your expertise. All right, let's see what the internet is talking about, and this is something I am super excited about and actually have looked into before. Nintendo is planning to turn its former manufacturing plant in Japan into a gallery for the public. The company announced that the plant near Kyoto would become a museum to showcase Nintendo's history, which has an amazing history. The plant was built back in 1969, and it was recently used to make playing cards. And it was also a customer service center for products and repairs as well. So not too much exciting stuff happening there recently. The new tentatively named Nintendo Gallery is expected to be completed on March of 2024. And when I went to visit the capital city, or the former capital city, Kyoto there, that was one of the first things I looked up to see if you could take tours, and the answer was no. So I'm very excited to see. Next time I go, I can check it out.
Also need to check out Super Nintendo World.
I know, yeah, that's new. That wasn't there when I was there either.
I know.
That looks super cool.
Well, we've been telling you guys about all these companies that are offering incentives for people to get vaccinated. Well, Anheuser-Busch announced today it's partnering with the White House to give 1 free beer to Americans 21 and over once 70% of U.S. adults are partially vaccinated. At last check, close to 63% of the adult population has received at least 1 dose of the COVID vaccine. The St. Louis-based brewer says it will give away 1 free beer, seltzer, or non-alcoholic beverage to any American who wants one. Now, their brands include Budweiser, Michelob Ultra, Stella, Bon Vive Hard Seltzer, and to get your free beer, adults need to upload a picture of themselves in their favorite place to grab a beer at mycooler.com/beer. No proof of vaccination will be required.
All right, and more brand news. This is coming from Pizza Hut. All right, the edge is back, guys. Ashley's excited about this one. The pizza's name comes from its cracker-thin crust and toppings all the way out to the sides. This sounds like something I would really like. It's a fan favorite, and it originally came out in 1997 and then re-emerged in 2009. But this has been missing for more than a decade from Ashley's life, and here it is back for you.
Well, I'm not a crust person, so that's my jam.
Oh, you're one of those people that throw the crust to the side?
Yeah, I am. I don't care.
Wasteful.
So, a new nail salon has opened in San Francisco without any nail technicians. Instead, there are 2 robots that do manicures. Now, startup Clockwork has developed the first nail painting robot to hit the market. It's about the size of a microwave, and it can do a quick polish change in just 10 minutes. An appointment at the shop cost $8, and according to the New York Times, the robot has multiple safety features, including a plastic-tipped cartridge that won't pierce your finger.
I don't know about that one.
I would try it once. This is really cool, you guys.
Yeah.
A teen girl's instincts took over when her pets were in trouble, and it led to an up-close and personal confrontation with a mama bear. This story is by Jeremy Roth.
Watch shocking surveillance video that captured a fearless teen girl getting into a shoving match with a huge bear in her backyard. The video shows the mama bear and her 2 cubs on a wall in the California home's yard. Suddenly, several dogs enter the frame and the bear becomes aggressive, swiping at the pets. That's when 17-year-old Haley Marinico sprang into action.
In that moment, I don't have much time to think, and the first thing I think to do is to push the bear off the ledge it's standing on.
Her actions worked, scaring off the bears and allowing her to escape with her dogs. Wildlife officials say bears native to California are not inherently aggressive towards humans, and the mama bear was likely just protecting its cubs. It was a similar maternal instinct that fueled Haley's bold reaction.
Honestly, the only thing I had in mind was to protect my dogs, and that's what I did.
You know, car chases can happen anywhere, but a car chase foiled by a herd of cows is pretty much the most Wisconsin thing ever. This cattle collective provided herd immunity to a suspect's misdeeds when it became a bovine blockade that put an end to a 13-mile police pursuit in northwest Wisconsin. We've seen suspect stops by cow cops before. Back in 2018, a suspect fleeing police was corralled by a helpful herd in Florida. As for this latest bossy bust, police in Wisconsin shared the image online, giving a shout out to their local bovine unit. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Jeremy, great pun work there, my friend. That was impressive. You guys, that's going to do it for This Is Now. We'll be back here. Well, I'll be back because Ashley's going to take a few days off.
Bye.
You're lucky. You're lucky. It's your turn, Joe. You deserve it. And she'll be back on Monday. But Mark's going to be filling in tomorrow. He'll join us here at the This Is Now H&N Digital Center. They'll still both be here for First at 4 coming up on KHNL at 4 o'clock. See you then.